Hello, this is Stuart Nachbar with Educated Quest. I am today with Jean-Patrick Antoine. He is an assistant dean of the School of Engineering at Rutgers University, which is his alma mater and mine. And he is also the director of the School of Engineering Honors Academy. I've written about honors colleges at universities, including Rutgers in the past, but I've never had the opportunity to write about something that's specific to engineering. And I thought it would be good for you to hear from someone who leads one of these institutions, learn about how they work. So, Jean-Patrick, thank you for the time today.
Thank you, Stuart.
Can you tell me briefly the academic interest and profile of a freshman class in the academy and how many students are freshmen in the academy?
Absolutely. So every year we typically have about 900 students that are generally admitted and accepted their admittance into Rutgers School of Engineering. But of those students, only about between 50 to about 70 students are accepted into the Honors Academy.
And what are some of the benefits to being part of the academy, should you say yes?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest benefits, I would say, not only is it a rigorous and vigorous environment where students who enjoy to be challenged end up being challenged, both in engineering and the rigor of just being a part of a very high achieving and um, ambitious group of scholars. We also just have a great community, a great collaborative community. So there's a lot of the things that are inside the Honors Academy is strategically created to create that community and to enhance that community. So I would say the biggest benefit is the like-minded group of students that help each other and spur each other on towards greater things.
Do the students live together like they do in the honors college as freshmen?
Absolutely. So the first year, the students have the option of living on the second floor of an all engineering first year dorm. Actually, not dormitory. I'm going to rephrase that. It's a residential hall because the dorm of the past is of the past. These days, we call it residential hall. So they live in the second floor of one of the BAM dorms, um, and in that residential hall, they actually all live together. And so that's where they live the first year. The second year, they opt into a collaborative space that's shared amongst different honors programs. So the Honors College, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, as well as the School of Engineering, all share um, living space together, second year and beyond.
And is that space near some people's classes? Because Rutgers is an infamous campus for buses.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. The suite of housing that's available to the students span across all campuses. So there's some housing in Livingston, there's some housing on Bush campus, there's some housing on the College Avenue campus. So the housing that's available for them spans all three campuses.
And from the academic standpoint, what is the freshman year like? What courses do they take in the academy? How do they get to a point where they could choose what they'd like to major in?
Absolutely. So for the Honors Academy, the students are required to take honor sequence of courses. Um, so for example, they're all required to take a different exposition and argument course, which is the replacement of the expository writing. Instead of taking expository writing, they all have to take exposition and argument. They also take honor sections of physics, calculus, and engineering mechanics and dynamics.
Wow. So their preparation should be a little bit better than the typical freshman who enters the School of Engineering? Should they have BC calculus, advanced physics, some exposure to maybe CAD or things that they might not have in a more typical engineering program?
That's a good question. So many of our students come in well prepared to do well in math and physics. So those are two courses that when students achieve at high levels in those two courses, they're pretty close to being good candidates for the Honors Academy. So AP courses are other courses that are really um, indicative of students that do well in the Honors Academy, as well as just a general great GPA.
Do you ask prospective students to write an essay or talk about why they might be interested in the academy?
Um, so we do not have a separate application process, but we do look at the essay that's required for your admittance into Rutgers. So we have access to that, and we're able to read that and make some assessments
If
there.
a student is now looking about to do the Rutgers application and they've done their homework, they've read about the School of Engineering, they've looked at prospective programs, and they read about the academy, is there any suggestions you have for writing the essay, things that they should mention? They don't have to be about the academy specifically, but about their interest in engineering that maybe they may want to, that might help them.
I would say it would be twofold, right? They should articulate their one, who they are. So a person of character, a person that's conscientious, a person that's collaborative, because that's a big piece of our environment, and also a person that would be prepared to engage in a very deeply immersed STEM environment.
And can you walk me through the life of a student in the academy? Someone comes in as a freshman, they're living in the residence hall. What are, aside from the core courses, what shared experiences do they have, and how do those continue into sophomore, junior, senior year?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned before, the students have a suite of different honors courses that they're required to take their first year. But I would say there are three different mission courses within the Honors Academy that are key to them connecting with each other. During the first year, they take an Intro to Engineering course, as well as the second year, where they take a Design and Development 1, and the third year, they take a Design and Development 2 course. All three of those courses set a trajectory for students to work collaboratively with other Honors Academy students on applied engineering projects where they present at the end of the course in a symposium. So for the Honors Intro 1 course, they present in front of faculty and alumni. Um, in the design and development course during the sophomore year and the junior year, it's really great because that course actually meets together where juniors lead project groups and sophomores join those project groups, and they work for a whole entire semester on an applied engineering project, which they also present in a symposium.
Do the students
So
choose the project or the problem, or does the faculty choose it?
that's a great question. So for the honors intro to engineering, as well as the design and development course, there's a slight prompt for the honors intro course, but for the design and development course, it's very open-ended. They have certain elements that they have to fulfill, um, where we give them 6 different elements and they have to pick 3 of them. So it's broadly defined so that they can have the freedom to come up with the project that they want. So if you look at the experience of an Honors Academy student, they come in and they have the choice of being a part of the living learning community, But then the curriculum is created in such a way that for all 4 years they can engage with one another. Not exclusively only with one another, obviously, because you want them to, you know, impact and engage with the rest of the Rutgers community. But they do have a skeleton of the program that allows for them to stay connected with the program all 4 years.
Because students have design experience earlier in their education, how does that affect the senior design course that engineers typically take?
That's a great question. So senior design, for once they're in their respective departments, usually takes place at the latter end of junior year slash senior year. And so the students are taking these mission courses for the Honors Academy right before then. So if anything, it enhances their ability to work in a group, work on a project, and collaborate. So they're doing a lot of practice in that before they get to their senior design.
Because engineering is a very hands-on discipline as well as a very creative one, do teams get budgets for projects, and do they get like the parameters they must work in?
Every department is different. So when it comes to senior design, each of them have a different way of operation. So if you look at the biomedical engineering department, they have a they have many different avenues to fulfilling um, that senior design. Um, the mechanical engineering department, they have a lot of connection with their industry advisory board, where they actually have industry folks that are sponsoring projects, which is really great. And so each department handles it slightly differently.
So someone who is making their way through the academy, they're going to build a pretty impressive resume
Absolutely.
between in-class projects and any internship assignments that they get. What have been some of the outcomes for people who've graduated with this experience?
So the thing that's great about the Honors Academy, I'll just give you some information related to some of our recent graduates, right? So we've had students that have landed jobs at Pratt Whitney, Bloomberg, Google, Bank of America, and an assortment of different highly paid and well sought after companies. Citi is another one, Deloitte Consulting, Raytheon. So you can see that the students are not handed an opportunity, but they're given an experience where they're well prepared to go after and land those opportunities. In addition to gaining industry experience, many of our students have landed graduate acceptance into graduate programs that are really great programs as well. So just looking at people who graduated recently in the spring of 2020, we have a student who is starting his PhD at RPI, another one at Boston University, one at University of Michigan, Carnegie Mellon, um, and the list goes on. So in the past, we've had students that have gone into to do their PhD at the University of Pennsylvania, Georgia Tech. So many of the students, if they don't find if they don't choose to go and work in industry, they have the opportunity to actually work on furthering their degree, whether it's a PhD or a master's.
Does the Academy collaborate with the Career Development Services at Rutgers to help students
Absolutely.
along the way?
Yeah. So our career services, you know, and I believe it's been rebranded as the career. Um, it's no longer called the career services, but that department is doing a fantastic job of of helping students land opportunities. They have two large career fairs that take place, one in the spring and one in the fall. And many of our students take advantage of that. We promote that department very heavily within our program so that the students could find more ways of tooling themselves up to land opportunities.
The students who are probably the best fit for the academy are likely shopping between Rutgers and other colleges. Are there merit aid benefits that you offer to try to get people to say yes for the academy?
Um, so we try not to make it about you know uh, I wouldn't say bribing people into coming in Honors Academy. I do think that what I highly suggest students to do is to come and visit the Honors Academy and seeing if the culture itself is something that they find valuable. And speaking to some of the scholars and seeing what they benefit out of it, the community that they're part of, the resources that are made available to them.
And how would
Um,
they go to request a visit? Do they contact your office or directly?
So, if you apply to the Honors Academy, normally what happens is it's by invitation only. So you don't apply to the Honors Academy. So the moment you're accepted into Rutgers, you will be offered or not offered an Honors Academy admittance.
Okay.
And once you have that, you'll receive numerous emails inviting you to come and visit.
Rutgers uses early action at the moment. So would say, and normally acceptances for that would come around just before Christmas time.
Mhm.
Is that the same case with the academy, or do typically people wait until like after January 1st to hear from?
Correct. So even though students may find out about their acceptance into Rutgers late this year, the admittance into the Honors Academy is not until after January.
Okay.
Sure.
So people might who've gotten an acceptance, let's say before Christmas time, might want to wait and don't deposit anywhere yet
Right.
until you've had a chance. Does anyone ever tell you what school they might have considered had the academy not existed?
Um, Say that again. Sorry.
Let's say the academy did not exist.
Correct.
Where would some of these students have gone to school? Would they still have gone to Rutgers? Would they have gone elsewhere?
Well, I'll tell you, I know, I would say this is for all of our honors programs. Many of our students are choosing between numerous opportunities, right? I've had students that were accepted to Carnegie Mellon and Rutgers and chose to come to Rutgers, right? And it's always due to numerous reasons, right? Sometimes it's because they love the program and it fits their personality. Sometimes it's due to the fact that it's closer to home and they're not quite ready to because they have other responsibilities at home, right? Um, but I would say that there's a large population of our students that were given offers elsewhere and they choose to come to Rutgers for numerous reasons.
How has instruction and the student life, especially for the freshmen, changed due to COVID-19?
I think for both the student life as well as the faculty that are teaching the courses, it's changed dramatically. So we're doing everything remotely during the fall. We haven't made our leadership hasn't made a decision whether what we're going to do in the spring, so we don't have an answer for that. But I would say that especially I can only speak for the School of Engineering. The School of Engineering is doing, in my opinion, a fantastic job of continuing to engage our students in numerous ways so that they can feel connected still. From the course instruction and pivoting from, the chalk and talk paradigm where you're just you have a sage on the stage um,
I
telling
like
you
that phrase.
everything, right? So
I
telling
like
you
that.
everything and writing on the board, etc., to a more collaborative and engaging environment where you may lecture for a brief period of time, have breakout session to unpack what was taught, and then engaging with students in different forms of interaction. So you think of the whole active um, classroom, right? And the collaborative environment. And so I think it's changed in the fact that we're constantly online, but I do think that a lot of our faculty have pivoted to meet the challenges that they've been presented with.
And the faculty who teach, are they also teaching like working adults who are working on master's degrees who must take instruction online as well?
Um, yes, so continuing education,
Yes.
yes, and I do believe some of the continuing education uh, degrees or certificates have been online already.
Yeah.
So, but then when it comes to the graduate degrees, those they're kind of like a hybrid right now because even though all undergrads are not allowed to be on campus, I believe there's some exception with graduate students that can actually be on campus because they're working under the tutelage of a professor and they're doing some form of research.
You mentioned several really interesting and I think very constructive ideas for instructing students who have to think about not only becoming an engineer, but maybe which engineering field they'd like to be in. And I like the way you've emphasized collaboration and collaborative learning. Have any of these ideas made their way into into the engineering curriculum for students who could not be admitted to the academy?
Um, I think there are many different co-curricular. When I say co-curricular, experiences that have a curricular outcome, but are not a part of a class that you're taking, that have adopted many of the things that we've done. Not saying that they're copying what we're doing, but I think we're all in the same vein where we're thinking of the student experience as well as the curricular part, right? So another program that we have in the School of Engineering is called the James J. Slade Scholars Program. So James J. Slade was a former professor at Rutgers who was well known for his research. And it's a program that brings about 30 some odd students every year that are seniors that are doing top level research during their senior year. And they're a part of a cohort that engages with each other, and there are tons of different peer review sessions where students engage with one another as they're going through this research. And then they're celebrated during commencement, and during the announcement when you have that large procession up on the stage and you get your degree, they'll say your name and James J. Slade, etc. But it's a well-esteemed program. It's been around for a very long time, and it's morphed recently within the past, I would say, 3 years to be more collaborative, but not collaborative in the research itself because they're doing individual research, but they're collaborating and sharing with each other their research and helping each other find holes in some of the work that they're doing or encourage each other in ways that they may not have in the past.
One of the things, and I'm a Rutgers alum, I'm embarrassed to say nearly 40 years ago, is that I think the quality of instruction in general across all the majors has gotten much better. And the services that students receive, I think, have gotten much better. Part of it is technology. Part of it is students have to know more. There's simply been a lot more knowledge that's come out over 40 years. You earned an undergraduate degree in engineering from Rutgers yourself. How would you contrast the engineering education you received to what students would receive if they have the experience of being in the academy and finishing their degree?
Oh, that's great. That's a great question. So, I would say that there are certain things that you learn in industry that you never, when you look back, one of the things that I do um, look back at my undergraduate experience, and there's certain programs that I did not engage in that I recognize if I did, it could have prepared me better. And I would say a lot of it has to do with non-engineering core skills, because I do think that Rutgers in general in teaching the engineering material has been fantastic. And I say this very confidently, and not because I work at Rutgers, just because I've worked in industry and I've worked alongside people at different universities, and we've been taught the same exact thing, and we learn the same exact thing. But the Honors Academy, what it does is it allows for students to do the deliberate practice of collaboration um, all 4 years, right? So now you're learning emotional intelligence, right? Where you're understanding your own emotions, understanding another person's emotions, and understanding how to interact with them, right? You're understanding the deep implications, or not implications, but the deep understanding of what it is to be gritty, right? To have grit. So Angela Duckworth from University of Pennsylvania has this book called Grit, and that's something that whenever I think of that book, a lot of the Honors Academy students have, because during their first year they're working on these applied engineering project with a very um, loosely defined scope, right? Or yeah, prompt, I would say. And then they work in collaborative groups during the first year. The second year and third year, they do it again, right? Two more times. So you would, I would say that the Honors Academy, the students are become very well prepared to engage, work together, and be a part of a team. And in this day and age where, um, we live in a world that's no longer very monolithic, right? We collaborate with different people from numerous different backgrounds, right? And I think our Honors Academy students, if they do allow themselves to be groomed by the system that they're a part of, they actually have the opportunity to be better prepared to engage with very diverse environments.
Dean Antoine, thank you very much for the time today. I've enjoyed this and I learned a great deal, and I look forward to sharing this with my audience.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I know that this was, it's great to see yet another Rutgers grad reach out to another Rutgers grad so that we can talk about some of the programs that exist at Rutgers. It's a great school. So I live vicariously through email. So feel free to email me. And if anyone reaches out to you wanting to know more about uh, the School of Engineering or the Honors Academy specifically, feel free to send them my way.
I would be glad to do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.